We want to thank you for joining us here for First at 4. Now stick around. We hope you will stay with us for an hour-long special. We are celebrating our Paul Barys. After the special, we'll be back with more of your local news with Eyewitness News at 6 o'clock. Stay with us. All right, they're already getting us emotional with that music and everything. I'm Cindy Sexton.
And I'm David Carroll. Chattanooga's Chief Meteorologist Paul Barys says goodbye to the Channel 3 Storm Alert Center after 36 years of keeping us all safe. And this hour is all Paul, all about Paul and his amazing career. His accomplishments go beyond predicting severe storms. He's also known for his work with the Humane Society in getting hundreds of pets adopted with his segment Paul's Pets. Paul's Pets quickly became a favorite segment for many viewers and Channel 3 employees alike. Our Allison Pryor has more on that.
Where can you see the cutest, the cuddliest, the most adoptable pets around? Only on Paul's Pets, every Monday night at 6 on Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
36 years ago when I got here, the first month I was here, I came up with this idea.
Only on Channel 3.
Paul got the idea from a TV station in Cleveland, Ohio, where dogs and cats would be featured during the news. Soon, here in Chattanooga, the Humane Educational Society was contacted and Paul's Pets was born at Channel 3.
Try to add it all up, and I know we've had probably close to 1,300 animals that we've given away in all these years.
Animals that now have loving homes.
It's been a blessing to be able to do that all these years.
Paul has learned a lot through the years about how to work with dogs and cats on live television. He's learned that cats get more nervous with all the lights and may need to be held just right. Dogs do better with a little playtime before their debut and can easily be distracted.
Where somebody would walk into the studio while you're doing it, and you'd always, oh my goodness, I hope he's not good. Because usually then they turn around and they go, who's that? Who's that? And they start barking.
Of course, there were some funny moments too. Paul's favorite happened while he was on vacation and former Channel 3 meteorologist Tom Benson was filling in.
We had a little puppy, and the puppy decided to do his thing right on the desk there, and everybody was just dying. We're laughing so hard.
Through the occasional chaos, the goal has always been to match pets to people.
When I got an email or a letter or a phone call from somebody who said, oh, I picked up one of your dogs 5 years ago and he's still going, or one of your cats. That always made me feel good.
Paul's Pets is a success due to the partnership between Paul and the Humane Educational Society. And now, HES can serve the needs of animals in our community even better with their new building.
It's unbelievable. This is a building that was intended for pets, and all the different rooms, all the volunteers that they have here.
Paul got a tour of the new facility when it opened this year. There are 4 cat rooms with private cat towers plus additional free roaming rooms.
They've got a lot of natural light. None of the air in these areas is recirculated, so the air quality is really great.
The dogs have their own kennel with automatic water and a mailbox with special treats.
We try and get each dog 2 pieces of enrichment every day. Try and get every dog out of the kennel at least once a day. So we've got play groups, we've got walks.
HES has 40 employees and 100 regular volunteers to take care of the animals' needs. And then there's Paul, to give the ones who need it a little help finding their forever homes.
And we have an exciting announcement. Paul's Pets will live on. Paul, we understand you're going to try to come in here and do it every week again.
Right. We're going to start off at the Humane Society, and we will record those, obviously. And we're going to do that at the beginning because since our COVID protocols aren't letting people into the studio like we'd like to. But once that changes, and hopefully that'll change pretty soon, we'll be able to do it on Mondays, and we'll try and do it live at 6 o'clock, I guess. So that would be fantastic. I can't wait to do that. I'm just going to be glad to come back to the station and see everybody. Yeah, and we'll talk about the dogs and the cats, and I'll have time to chat with everyone. And you'll be able to see me. And by that time, I probably won't have my beard. I'm going to shave it off.
Ooh.
Probably next week sometime.
All right.
I have to explain to my granddaughter. She's got to watch me do it, otherwise she's going to get upset.
Well, it'll be nice to have you in here on Mondays, and of course, your car automatically just drives to Channel 3.
Yeah.
It's been doing
Yes, it does. It knows how to do it by itself. I just close my eyes.
so long. That's it. Well, you know, just last week, Paul was honored at Rescues on the Runway, a big fundraiser. The organization presented the Commitment to Compassion Award to our chief, and proceeds from the event support the shelter and the pets. Get a load of this. Some 400 tickets were sold, and the event raised more than $100,000. And you know, on the topic of Paul's pets, Channel 3 has a special gift for Paul.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, our station has donated $1,500 to the Humane Society in your honor. There's a plaque on display in the Cat Tower. There you see it, in recognition of WRCB's Paul Barys and Paul's Pets. 30 years of service finding homes for HES pets at WRCB. How about that?
Well, that's an honor.
Yeah.
Our name will be up there for a while, and you know, I just want to thank Channel 3 for putting it all together.
Yeah.
We started that about 36 years ago. Our old news director, Lee Meredith, said, is there anything special you'd like to do a little different than weather? And I told him about this because back when I worked in Cleveland, Ohio, and one of the other stations, the fellow who was there for years and years and years and years, a lot longer than I've even been here, he was doing cats and dogs. And I asked him, would it be okay if I did that? And he said, oh yeah, go ahead. So I did it, and we've been doing it ever since.
Yeah.
And it's been a blessing. It's been fantastic. We've given away, I'm guesstimating, between 1,300 to 1,400 animals.
Wow.
Wonderful.
And we've missed them during the pandemic. We're looking
Yes,
forward
we
to
missed
that
that a lot.
coming
Always
back.
love seeing them coming in the newsroom on Mondays. All right,
Yeah.
Paul. Well, coming up next on the Paul Barys Special, we take a look at Paul's Skywatcher program. You'll hear from the Skywatchers themselves. And as we go to break, we'll play special messages to Paul from his friends and family. We'll be right back.
Paul, congratulations on your career and upcoming retirement. It was great spending 8 of those years with you as teammates, and we had some weather, didn't we, during those years? Superstorm of '93, Hurricane Opal, just to name a few. But I want to wish you the very best in your upcoming time with your family, travel, and just basically relaxing. And Paul, no matter what you do during retirement, just remember this: keep rocking that beard, okay? All the best, my friend.
Little history for you. Paul Barys is the longest running weather forecaster in the history of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And he couldn't have done that without his Skywatchers who've been serving our viewers since 1985. And did you know Sandra Russell from Athens, Tennessee was Skywatcher #1, and there have been many more.
Well, part of their job description includes calling Paul every day to report the highs and the low temperatures. Well, Greg Glover introduces us to 5 of Paul's originals.
And we're celebrating our annual event with our Skywatchers.
I'm sure most of us have said this. We've always been interested in the weather.
But their stories are as varied as their home bases spread across the Tennessee Valley and beyond. Paul started assembling the Skywatcher team back in 1985 with Sandra Russell.
I think we used to call in collect sometimes to the station here.
36 years ago, Sandra started her watch from her hilltop home in Athens. She and Paul chatted recently about the day she joined the team.
I just remember one night on TV you said, I'm going to start a Skywatchers thing, and if you're interested in it, all you need is a minimum, maximum thermometer, and call me. And I called you and I said, where do I get one?
She brought along that original thermometer and a few other keepsakes.
1992,
Is that at
Ingalls Stadium,
Ingalls Stadium?
the first backyard barbecue.
That's right. You got. That's right. I forgot about that.
So drop us a line and tell us why yours will be special.
You might call Sandra the Skywatcher historian.
It's 1999 down at River Park.
Right. I remember that.
Just down the road is the archivist of the team.
Hey, Paul. Hey, Paul, this is Cindy in Riceville. Paul, we had 80 for our high today. We had 57 for our low.
Cindy Ellenbolt joined up in 1987. She considers the group more than just fellow weather enthusiasts.
The backyard barbecue.
We used to have the picnics over on the river park, over by the river park, and see, everybody came then, and we all got to be family and get to know each other and, you know, see each other. and that was a lot of fun.
We had dinner with him last Friday.
Through the years, Paul and his Skywatchers have gotten close.
Even though he's our quote-unquote boss meteorologist, he's also our friend.
Gwen Tugman from Lookout Mountain admits their daily calls are frequently about the highs and lows in life.
He listens to our woes. My husband was very sick, and he had a heart attack and whatever. Paul was there for him. I mean, I talked to him from the hospital. He was there. He talked about his own experience with his heart attack.
There's humor, too.
The one thing we dread when we call Paul is when we know that the high is 76, because he's been doing it for years. If I say, Paul, my high was 76, he always says, that's the spirit. And so we all groan. It's one of the worst jokes ever, and he still does it.
I'll pick it right up like we're best friends. I'd like to think he is a very good friend.
The voice of Turtletown, Dave Pearman, remembers when a tornado hit eastern Polk County. Luckily, he was away that day.
When we got it back, my phone just started ringing off the hook. All my Chattanooga friends.
They were checking on him because Paul had warned Dave on the air the twister was headed for his house.
He knew exactly where I am, and he actually called me by name and hoping that we were okay and we better watch out.
Dave says things like that show him and his neighbors something about Paul Barys.
It's impressive, but the fact that he really cares about East Polk County, Turtletown, Ducktown, Farner, over in our direction, Benton, when he talks about these areas, that makes us feel very secure that we're getting good information.
I just might say that Paul has earned the title of Chief Meteorologist for Chattanooga.
Paul recruited Johnny Parks in the late 90s during a workout at the YMCA.
I mentioned to him at one point that I lived in Ringgold, and he says, oh, I need a Skywatcher in Ringgold.
What did Johnny say about Paul's upcoming retirement?
I'm going to miss you. I told him that a month or two ago.
A sentiment shared by all.
Knowing how dedicated to family that he is and how much they've had to sacrifice. And now he's more than paid his dues, but it's really sad, and we're all going to miss him, you know.
I have those emotions, but I'm also thrilled for him. I know that you and your wife have traveled a great bit, and I hope you'll take every opportunity to do that and have a lot of good memories of all the good things you've done.
I'll miss you, my friend. You have been a rock. You've made me laugh. You've taught me a lot of things. And I wish you a very happy life and stay in touch. We love y'all.
Wow.
Great people.
Yes. Coming up on this Celebrating Paul special, we'll hear from one of Paul's longest friends in television.
One of America's most familiar faces worked with our chief before his Chattanooga days. NBC's Al Roker pays tribute to his old pal Paul next here on Channel 3.
Hi, Paul. Congratulations on your retirement. I'm so proud and happy for you, as we all are here. You've had a great career there in Chattanooga, and I'm glad you found a home there so many years ago. I know how much you love it there, and now you can enjoy all the wonderful things Chattanooga and the area has to offer and do it on your own schedule. Retirement will be a new and exciting chapter in your life, and you'll enjoy it with family and friends. Traveling's a must, and I can't wait to see you and Sarah later in the summer. I love you, Paul, and wish you all the best. Again, congratulations, and welcome to the club.
All right, Channel 3 family, what do you think of when you hear the name Paul Barys? Weather forecasting for sure, maybe the junior forecasters or Paul's pets, but likely it's the beard, right? Channel 3 viewers have never known Paul without a beard, nor have those of us who've worked with him for 36 years. His own daughters don't even know what's behind that beard. He grew it just before coming to Chattanooga. He was between jobs, he took a break from shaving, and when he got here, the boss said, it's okay, you can keep the beard. And of course, now we can't imagine him without it.
I remember consultants telling me, I remember news directors telling me, you don't wear facial hair on television. And then I met Paul Barys. And he blew that conventional wisdom out of the water.
I was there probably 5 or 6 years before he showed me a picture of what he looked like prior to the beard, and I was like shocked. I'm like, who is this person?
So what happens next? Will his face remain furry, or will there be a close shave? Well, on Channel 3 earlier this week, Paul broke the news that he will be shaving the beard sometime in the near future, going incognito at least for a while. So get a glimpse, enjoy the iconic beard while it lasts.
Well, the Roker-thon relay just wrapped up. Al Roker of NBC's Today Show set another Guinness World Record title by hosting an online weather report relay. Paul Barys was one of a few dozen meteorologists across the country to help Al break the record. But what you probably didn't know is that Paul and Al go way back, 36 years to be exact. They worked together in Cleveland, Ohio before Al left for New York, and they've remained friends ever since. They got the chance to say goodbye during the Roker-thon relay.
Well, things are looking pretty good here, Al. I just got to tell you, this is just a gift for me to say thank you for all that you did for me in Cleveland while I was there. You gave me a lot of confidence and let me move on. I'm going to throw it back to you.
Well, Paul, I got to tell you, you are one of the great ones. You're a lovely man. You're very generous. You and your family were very kind to me and mine. So God bless you, and I wish you all the best. Mwah! Love you.
And we think it's safe to say their friendship will continue after retirement. Coming up still on this special edition of Eyewitness News Live at 5, Paul tells us his most personal story.
Longtime viewers may recall he survived a heart attack at a young age, and it was a life changer. Paul shares his story as our retirement tribute continues here on Channel 3.
One of the things that I always enjoyed was making Paul laugh, because he has this infectious laugh, and if you've ever been in the room when Paul's really laughing, it gets you to laugh. And you know, he's just one of my best friends, and you know, making him laugh at any point is some of my favorite memories of being around him.
As we celebrate the retirement of Paul Barys, we want to take a look back at some of his most important memories, and one of those made him who he is today.
You know, Paul had a heart attack when he was in his 40s, and his story about the symptoms and his recovery could help someone else. He talks to our Latrice Curry about this life-changing experience.
The tornado warning is in effect now for Marion County. I was 49, and I said, this couldn't be what maybe it could be.
One of the most critical and dangerous predictions Channel 3 Chief Meteorologist Paul Barys ever made wasn't necessarily about the weather, like a tornado or hurricane, but his health. It was more than 20 years ago, and Paul and his wife Sarah were dropping off their oldest daughter at college at UTC.
And I had just a little, it wasn't a sharp pain. It was like, I think everybody's had that type of pain in their chest where you maybe pull a muscle, and if you're coughing a lot or whatever, a little pain in my chest.
It would go and come throughout the day, not debilitating, but just what Paul describes as annoying at the time. He happened to notice a bottle of aspirin. No big deal, right?
For some reason, she had a little headache and she decided to buy aspirin that day. So on the counter of her apartment, there was a little bottle of aspirin. And in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, no, this couldn't be but I'm gonna take some aspirin.
The pain went away, but then later.
It's hard to breathe. You feel this pain going up your shoulder. It was my right shoulder at this time. So I told my wife we need to go to the hospital.
They went to the emergency room.
I said, there's no doubt in my mind I'm having a heart attack. It's not indigestion.
That prediction, like so many others Paul has made, was accurate.
And he says, Mr. Barys, you're having a heart attack. I said, yeah, I know, that's why I came in.
Paul can laugh now. But then he was facing a health hurricane of sorts that could have taken his life. Once he recovered, he had lots of questions as to just how this could have happened to him. His cholesterol numbers weren't bad, his blood pressure was good, he didn't smoke, and he exercised. But there's not much you can do when it comes to heredity.
Basically a genetic problem that my cholesterol particles are teeny tiny. I have small LDL particles.
Which is bad cholesterol. Paul later found out that his maternal grandfather died of a heart attack at the age of 49. He's thankful his outcome was different. Paul says he doesn't dwell on the small things and looks forward to something he enjoys even more than the sunshine and nice Tennessee Valley weather: spending time with his family, especially his grandkids.
Well, yes, we have one granddaughter that lives in Chattanooga, and so we have one real close, so we see her all the time. And then we have another one on the other side of the world that lives in Shanghai with my daughter and her husband.
And coming up next as we celebrate Paul, we'll look back on some of his favorite adventures on land and in the air.
He'll tell us about the time he went to space camp and his favorite story of all time. Paul did some other things in addition to being a meteorologist. He's covered various stories as a reporter. He went to space camp upon arriving in Chattanooga, learning the operations during launch day. And his first job in Washington, North Carolina gave him the opportunity to be a Blue Angel for the day. Paul boarded an A-4 Skyhawk with Lieutenant Niall Craft at Cherry Point Marine Station, and they were off.
We did every maneuver the Blue Angels do, except we didn't do it in formation. We just did it by ourselves. So we did all the spirals, the barrel rolls. That didn't bother me. In this, it's not, it's sudden. It's like, laugh off to the side. So all of a sudden, you see your stomach on the wingtip, and you say, come back. And there's no describing it.
Well, Paul said that being a Blue Angel for a day was an experience he'll never forget.
Well, you know, we've been complimenting Paul on his 36 years at Channel 3, and rightfully so. But some of you may not be aware of his amazing forecasts before he came to Chattanooga. Now, you can tell by looking at Paul. If you look at him very closely, you can see he's been around for a long, long time. And we have searched Paul's historical archives and made some amazing discoveries. Did you know that for the famous San Francisco earthquake of 1906, Paul was a little shaken up, but he saw it coming? That's not all. Paul even goes back to biblical times. When it rained for 40 days and 40 nights, it was Paul who made sure Noah got those animals on the ark, 2 by 2. And most famously, in 1912, this was scary. Paul tried to warn the captain of the Titanic about that iceberg, but word traveled slowly in those days. You've been watching Paul Barys throughout history because, as you know, Paul always said it would be like this. Iceberg.
And still to come as we celebrate Paul, we'll take a look back at the big storms of 93, 95, and 2011. Paul tells us in his own words how it felt to track that weather.
Thank you for what you have done for my career, the meteorology you have taught me, the friendship we had and that we started in 1999 and still continues today through phone calls. Wish I could see you more often. But the lessons you taught me about forecasting the weather and the friendship that you have given me and the friendship that we've had ever since then for now more than 20 years, thank you. Have a great retirement. Enjoy it.
For those of you just getting home watching the news, we are celebrating the retirement of Chattanooga's chief meteorologist. Everywhere we go, people tell us about how they've relied on Paul Barys during so many severe weather events. He has kept us safe and, frankly, helped save a lot of lives. He says during his 36 years in Chattanooga, 3 storms in particular are truly unforgettable. Those storms changed a lot of lives, including Paul's.
A lot of authority in your voice. This is the real thing.
No, usually I'm pretty conservative about this stuff, but this time it looks pretty good.
Paul Barys has long said the daily duties of forecasting the weather, usually routine or even mundane at times, are just practice for when the big one comes.
6 to 12 inches of snow is my good guess here.
And one of the biggest was March 12, 1993, long known as the Blizzard of '93. The Tennessee Valley was blanketed by some 20 inches of snow, and even in the pre-digital era, Paul saw it coming several days in advance.
You have to remember, the old record in Chattanooga was 12 inches, and that was back in the 1800s. So I said, I said, I can't go 20 to 30 inches of snow. I can't even get, I said, maybe half that. I'll do half of that. So about 10 to 15, if I remember correctly, that's something like that's what I predicted, which is still a record for Chattanooga. And as it got even closer, within 24 hours, it looked even worse. So I stuck with that, and I went on the air, and I remember saying it's going to be the worst storm in the history of Chattanooga. And nobody believed me. People, as a matter of fact, some people were upset.
We are going to get dumped on around here. I mean, something you haven't seen in a few years.
It was full-fledged snowstorm blizzard that even I knew was coming, but still to see it, it was hard to believe. And we had thunder snow. And you know, we got to the station and we went on the air, and you and I went on the air, and we did really sort of radio / TV on the air, and we had people calling up. We opened the live lines, and people were calling up asking for this, that, you know, they need insulin here. There were people, I don't know how they did it, but there were people with snowmobiles going down the roads. Where they got them, I have no idea.
I don't think any of us could have conceived that we would start with storms early this morning and still be talking about them before midnight.
That's because, Cindy, nothing like this has ever happened before.
Moving ahead to another major storm, the date April 27, 2011 will long be remembered for a series of tornadoes that ravaged the viewing area from morning through late night, resulting in a wide swath of death and destruction. 80 people lost their lives in a 60-mile radius of Chattanooga. Paul joined the coverage that morning and rarely left his post for the rest of the day.
I think that says 93 miles an hour. Nick, does that say? It says 93 miles an hour. That's how fast the storm is moving. This is unbelievable. If it's even half that, at 45 to 50, that's still strong, but it's probably, I know 93 is awfully fast.
And we stayed on the air till 11 that night. So it was 12 hours straight of what we call in the business wall-to-wall coverage. And that covered no commercials. We were talking. I drank a lot of water. I remember that day. I drank tons of water.
Tremendous twisting of the winds in this situation. More than likely a tornado just a little bit to the east of Scottsboro up over Sand Mountain.
When I went off the air that night, after 11 o'clock news was all over with, everything was past us, I said, folks, it's over with now. Get some rest. It's going to be a long day tomorrow. We're going to see things tomorrow in the light of day that you've never seen in your life before. And I said, as far as physical damage, this is the worst thing to happen to the Tennessee Valley as a whole since the Civil War.
The most recent storm was just over a year ago, on April 12, 2020. It was Easter Sunday, and Paul joined meteorologist Allison Pryor for coverage as tornadoes began forming late in the day. 10 lives were lost as 7 tornadoes made their way through the area, including an EF3 in East Brainerd with a true twist.
It picked up debris, and the radar now can not only see where the rain is, it could tell you how fast the wind's blowing, but also saw that debris ball and told you there was a debris ball, which indicates it's on the ground. No, it's not a theory, it's not a maybe, it is. And when we saw that, because I remember I was looking at the winds on it, on the computer, and while we were on the air, and Allison said to me, Paul, you have to look at this. And we looked at another aspect of the radar, and it popped up. It just like it looked like a bullseye. And I just said, oh my. Because it's the first time I'd seen that in the viewing area, a debris ball like that. And that's when we started really telling everybody, this is for sure. And I was scared, but when you're on the air like that, the adrenaline's flowing, but you have to stay calm. Because if you don't, everybody panics.
Paul has always stayed calm. Coming up next, meteorology has changed in the 46 years Paul Barys has been on the job. He tells us that conveying a sunny day back then consisted of sticking a sun on a map. He takes us through the changes up next.
Thank you, Papa, for all the hard work you did doing the weather. I'm so glad that you were here to be a weatherman, so you could be helping us when you could. Thank you, Papa.
Our friend Paul has logged a total of 46 years as a meteorologist, and the forecasting technology has changed a lot since 1975. Back in the old days, the only way to predict a tornado was to see a hook echo in the radar. Now he can see the circulation of a tornado. He can tell you when it's coming to your neighborhood with pinpoint accuracy. We've come a long way since the primitive days of forecasting.
And in those days, there were no magic weather maps on the wall with 18 different computer charts that we're going to show you. There was one. It was a national map with magnets on it, and you would have to end up, and this was probably a bonus to me because I learned to communicate.
Nowadays, Paul gets more information in one day than he used to get in 10 years. We've gone from magnets and magic markers to a state-of-the-art storm alert center and our mobile weather unit, Thunder, allowing our team to take our forecast on the road. You'll recall Paul helped unveil Thunder back in 2019.
That's a great picture. And we have another surprise for you, Paul. Hamilton County Mayor Jim Coppinger has made today Paul Barys Day, and he has a special message for you.
Uh-oh.
Congratulations, Paul, on your retirement. It is well deserved after almost 36 years of service, not only to Hamilton County, but the entire region. Your weather forecasts have been important and instrumental to so many people throughout the decades when it comes to planning outings, events, weddings, and even my occasional golf game. Most importantly, though, your forecasts have helped save lives during some of the critical weather events that have been witnessed throughout the years, such as the superstorm of '93 and most recently the tornadoes that have impacted our county. Your accurate forecasts are the reason that so many people say, Paul said it would be like that. And your tireless efforts to foster pet adoption every week has struck a chord with many of our dog lovers who watch you, helping them to find their lifelong friends. So Paul, let me close by saying congratulations again. I know you're going to enjoy your time with Sarah, the children, and the grandchildren, and you will be missed.
Thank you, Mayor Coppinger. It was also Paul Barys Day in Cleveland, Tennessee on Wednesday. There you see our friend Steve Hartline with Mix 104.1, presenting him with a certificate. Paul pretty much had the run of Cleveland that day, as I understand. And there's more. You ready for this? Here in the state of Tennessee, it's Paul Barys Day, and it's signed by Governor Bill Lee. So there you go, right from the state capitol, a day of recognition with the seal of Tennessee there. How about that?
Can't beat that.
Pretty nice.
Yep.
We'll
there you
hand it
go.
over.
County proclamation.
You need to frame these and put them on a prominent
I wonder if I can get a free meal with these tonight.
Worth a shot. It's your day.
Give it a shot.
It's the mayor.
Yeah. How do you
and
top
the governor.
That's right.
And coming up on our Paul Barys special, Paul has a soft side that people don't see very often.
Every time that I leave to go back to China, he always gets a little bit misty, and he learned how to say goodbye in Chinese, which means to see you again, like zaijian. And so he won't say goodbye, he just says zaijian, and then gets a little bit teared up and waves, and then we have to all depart very quickly, otherwise everyone's going to turn into a big puddle.
Paul's already in a puddle now. A couple more surprises are waiting for Paul on the other side of the break. Stay with us. Paul Barys is one of the most recognized people in the Chattanooga area. 36 years on television allowed viewers to get to know him. But there is another side to this man. He's funny and tender-hearted, and for the first time, his wife and daughters come out from behind the scenes to reveal that side of our friend Paul.
I remember people being always enthralled with the idea of my father being on TV, but I didn't know any different. You know, that was just what I knew.
But there was always a little bit of, Paul Barys, I think that's his parents. And sometimes people would come over and want to talk to him. And my dad's actually quite shy sometimes. And so he would get a little, embarrassed almost and not as talkative as one would think Paul Barys would be when he's, out on the town. But I think he also loves that aspect of his job.
I remember one of my friends was like, oh my gosh, your dad's Paul Barys. And I was like, yeah, he goes to work just like your dad. And I remember one time thinking, gosh, I wish he worked at TVA, just like everyone else's dad, it seemed like.
Maggie and Jamie relish the memories of growing up with a dad on TV. Paul credits his wife, Sarah, with making that possible.
She was the one who did all the work, much more than I ever did. And she used to call herself a weather widow. And that meant that if there were ever storms, I wasn't there.
That's nice of him to say that. Yeah, it was, you know, but that was his job, and I knew that was part of being married to him, was to, you were the person, you're going to be on the air when you need to be on.
They found a balance when he went home for dinner in between evening newscasts.
He was really good with the girls. I mean, he spent a lot of time with them, and when he could and stuff. And you know, it's important that he came home for dinners and he spent the evenings with them.
He was able to come home and we'd all sit down to dinner together, which was really nice. And then usually before he left to go back to the studio by 9, he would read us a bedtime story.
When I was little, Dad always read us books at night before he'd go to bed, before he had to go back to work. And read a lot of Tarzan. And then we got into the Wizard of Oz, you know, the tornado and the weather stuff. But there's dozens of books in the Wizard of Oz.
During the blizzard of '93, the Barys family had to hit pause on dinner breaks and story time. The Barys house was in an area hit particularly hard. Paul was at the station for days with no way to communicate with his family. And to this day, Paul is known for getting that forecast right.
Not only are we going to get snow, we might see the coldest temperature so far for the winter season.
Paul said it would be like this. Paul's right on it.
He came home and he said, we're in for a big storm. And I said, for you to say that on a Monday night and it's not going to hit till Friday, you must be pretty daggum sure that it's going to be a big storm.
Since then, Paul has become a household name in the Tennessee Valley.
It's such an important part of his life. It's it's really his identity, is being a weather person, being informative. I am proud of him. I'm proud in many ways, but that's how he kind of measures himself in a lot of ways, is his weather.
It's coverage that you can count on.
Such a presence in Chattanooga. You know, people love him.
And now the people who love him most have much to look forward to.
Well, Dad, I'm so excited you'll finally get to be able to eat at a normal time with us, and we won't have to postpone Easter or Christmas or Thanksgiving, and we can do it the day of the holiday.
He'll have more time to spend with his granddaughter here and his grandson in China.
Congratulations, Papa! Well, honey, this time was going to come sometime, and I'm glad I kind of urged you on to do it so you can explore different chapters in your life moving forward. There's so much out there that I think to explore, and we can do fun things together, and I'll still ask you about the weather no matter what. So I'm sure you'll still have your hand in looking at things on the computer.
Oh, congratulations, Dad. Amazing job. Love you so much.
Thank you for always looking out for everybody in this city and this town. I know you'll still be watching out, and I'll still call you to check in on the weather. And I know this is a big part of your life, but I know a lot more to come after retirement, so enjoy.
Paul, we have another surprise for you.
All right.
Come on out, everybody. They're not just on video. Let's see.
They're
Who
in
do
person.
we have here? Boo. She said boo. And here they are, Sarah.
Oh, Darren, come on in.
Come on, Sarah,
This is my
Maggie,
son-in-law,
Darren.
Darren, and my wife, Sarah, and Maggie.
And then Emmy.
And Emmy.
Good to have you all with us today.
Here, you want to look at the camera?
Oh,
Yeah, let her look at the camera.
Look at the camera.
The camera loves her.
All right. Yeah.
Okay. You want Mama?
We're going to have another special surprise for you in just a minute, but first I think David has something he wants to present.
Oh my goodness.
Well, we come bearing gifts, Paul.
Yes.
This is from Channel 3. It is a travel voucher, And no telling where they're going to send you, but it's going to be nice.
Okay, that's fantastic.
Wonderful. And Sarah mentioned something to me about what she wants to get you to start doing when we were talking in the park. I want him to play pickleball with me, she said.
Pickleball.
So here you go, Sarah. This is for you.
Oh my gosh.
We can be on a team.
And we want to see video on Facebook.
That'd be good. I gotta learn how to play
really
pickleball
nice.
now. I've heard really good things about pickleball.
Oh yeah.
What a lovely gathering and a great selection of gifts and wonderful family. Are we leaving anyone out?
No, let's see if we can hear someone else. Here.
Is there someone on the line here we should be speaking with? There she
Look
is.
there.
Hello!
Oh my goodness.
From China.
Do we wave here?
They're live.
That's Jamie, my daughter, Duncan, my son-in-law, and Hamish, my there he is. He's on cue too. Did you notice that? That's Hamish, my grandson.
Emmy's cousin.
He just turned. He's a little over 7 months old, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Yes, that's right. Congratulations, Dad. Paul Barys Day.
Yeah,
So amazing.
Growing like a weed.
I talked to her for about an hour. FaceTiming yesterday, she never gave me any clue. She said, "I'll try to get out."
I know, I tricked you.
Because in China now, it's almost 6 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow. Hey, thanks for getting up so early.
Of
That's our
course,
pleasure.
we wouldn't miss it.
All right.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Duncan, you got anything to say to your father-in-law there?
Oh, I mean, it's been a huge honor knowing him for the short time that I have, and I'm thrilled that we could be here for this wonderful day.
No, this is great. This is making my everybody. Channel 3 did a great job surprising me on this. I did not expect this. I had a feeling, well, maybe, and then everybody denied it yesterday. So I'm just so glad. And Jamie gave me no clue at all that this was going to happen.
Good.
So he's got the ahoy there. Yeah, he's a little sailor. Yeah. He's going to be a big boy. Yeah.
And you'll have a little more time for international travel.
That's
now.
right.
Yes.
We're looking forward to it. As soon as this COVID thing gets over with, we'll be going out to China and seeing everybody out there. And so it's just this is remarkable. I want to thank Channel 3 for what they've done, putting all this together. Emily, who's the producer for this, and Callie Starnes, who's our news director. I know everybody's been involved in this. This is an amazing, amazing thing. And the management, Channel 3, is the best.
Yeah, they've been wonderful.
I couldn't ask for better. And all my friends here, they're the best.
Paul, this is a reflection of you. Everything that's coming back to you right now is from what you gave all of us all these years.
I feel like, the old TV show, This Is Your Life. And then all these different things happen, all these different things, and all these people show up that, I would have seen Sarah tonight. I would have seen you this weekend. And it's just that when they come in the station, Emmy's never been in the studio before, and she's never had that chance. And she's not too excited right now, it looks like.
Someday she'll see this on tape and go, oh,
That's right. This is her first time on TV, and she did such a good job in the car there when she was thanking me for all the stuff.
Yes.
Did you like doing that, honey? Was that good?
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
And you learn too that your friends are pretty good at keeping secrets.
You're very good at keeping. And my wife, this is the best secret I think you've ever done. This is amazing.
Yeah, I told Paul I hadn't talked to Sarah in a long time.
I said to her, I said to her, I think you may be coming tonight. She goes, well, nobody called me. Nobody asked me to do that.
And the Academy Award goes to Sarah. Great actor.
And as we run out of time, we want to say goodbye to your family in China.
Bye-bye. I love you guys. Mwah.
Bye, guys. Love you too.
Love you so
All right,
much.
Channel 3 family, you're part of the
Congratulations.
Paul Barys family. And we'll be back with more news right after this.